Hi all, I'm Konstantin, you're on Lightmaster channel, and in this video I will tell you how to synchronize architectural lighting on two separate buildings. Let's imagine we have two buildings. In fact, there can be many more, but for simplicity, let's leave two. The principle of operation remains the same. There are two buildings that are part of one complex, and the lighting on both should be turned on simultaneously and somehow interact with each other. This can be implemented in two ways. The initial choice is when the Lightmaster player head unit is positioned, for instance, on one of the buildings, and we transmit ArtNet to the second building via a cable connection that links the two locations together. If there is no possibility to lay a cable, then we have another synchronization method. By time, assuming the presence of the internet. This is how computers and smartphones synchronize time, and this is the method we will talk about in this video. Well, and to have something to show, let's create such colorful animations with smooth transitions. By transferring the color from one building to another building, the colors can be exchanged and create a vibrant visual impact. Let's construct basic 3D models of structures directly in the Lightmaster application, without relying on external software. But we will only create animations on 4 facades, 2 for each building, because this project is virtual and we won't see the backside anyway. Launch Lightmaster and initiate a new project. We add several layouts and assign the facade texture to them. There will be 4 facades, 2 for each building. I establish loyalties for every facade as I have the texture of one facade. All facades here are the same, and I will apply this texture to each facade individually. Without any delay, I promptly proceed to make the necessary adjustments to the size. If you are new to the program and some moments seem unclear to you, we have a video on our channel dedicated to a quick start in the Lightmaster program, where I discuss the main tools in more detail. And now I will modify the size of our primary layout. To ensure that all the necessary elements can fit within my workspace, adjustments must be made to optimize the layout. This will maximize efficiency and functionality, while minimizing clutter and distractions, thus creating a more organized and productive work environment. The building is 25 m wide. Linear RGB luminaires 1 meter in length will be utilized for the purpose of highlighting. So we will need 25 points on each side. Each point will correspond to the color of a specific luminaire. Now let's make a 3D model to visually see the animations made in the future. Go to 3D Preview, choose the box, and in addition, give him the texture that matches our facade's appearance and complements its overall aesthetic. I am making adjustments to the size without any delay. It's best to indicate the size in cm, then the model won't appear too big or too small. Linear luminaires will be positioned along the top of the building. You can create fixtures by clicking on the Create from Fixtures button and selecting their type. It can be, or a spotlight, in this case U. The beam's length and the opening angle are adjusted to meet the specific requirements, ensuring optimal performance and functionality of the system in question. Alternatively, it might be a linear luminaire. Also sets the length of the beam. The angle at which the luminaire opens and the overall length of the luminaire are important factors to consider. You can go further in two ways. The first is to select the device, press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V. Duplicate, replicate, relocate to the preferred position, iterate once more, and consequently obtain a series of illuminating fixtures. Not convenient if you have. There are extended straight sections. Then you have the option to employ the clone tool for your convenience. We emphasize our device and select the cloner tool. At this stage, we have the option to specify the number of devices, which, in our particular case, is 25, as well as define the offset on the axes. We will unfold and place it on our facade. The device from which the copies were made can be concealed. Duplicate the row of spotlights to the neighboring facade. Making adjustments to the position. At this particular moment, I am going to select the building and create a copy of it. After that, I will proceed to move it to a new place or location that is different from its current position in order to achieve the desired outcome. I will highlight the spotlights and also copy them, paste them, and I will relocate to the second building. I am going to assign a texture to the building that has been copied from the original structure, and I will align the lines of the projectors with a single pixel on the mapping field. To do this, I will select the line, press the Select button, and specify the first pixel. I will choose the second line, press Select, and choose already 26 pixels. I indicate the next line at 51 pixels. And I indicate the next line at 76 pixels. The model is constructed. Now let's proceed to creating animations. Go to the Composition tab. Choose the first available cell. I will add a gradient effect. Immediately we get a pretty interesting animation, and for some cases it can be left like this, but I'll add a little bit of color. So we obtained an animation with smooth blending. Colors undergo a transition from one building to an adjacent structure. I'll leave this animation as it is. I will choose the next available cell. The color change effect can be implemented in a different way. I choose the color change effect and navigate to its settings. In this section, we have the ability to modify the speed at which the colors change. We have the ability to modify the transition time between colors, making it either smoother or sharper depending on the desired effect. We can also select colors to use. If it is necessary, you have the option to add color. In this situation, we experience a seamless transition, modifying the color of the entire backlight all at once in a single operation. I will create another animation where each building will be painted in its own color. A white stripe will pass through both of these buildings. I choose an empty cell, apply a color effect, and add the effect of white stripes to create the desired visual impact. The stripes are already passing through all the buildings. I'll tweak this effect a bit. And I will transfer the color individually to the front side of each building, ensuring a unique and distinct appearance for every structure. I'll change it from black EG to the color of the sky is blue. I will make a precise copy, replicating it without any changes or adjustments. My goal is to maintain the originality and integrity of the content. I will create an additional copy of it. Subsequently, I will proceed to make alterations to the color, for instance, by changing it to the color red. Each building is lit up in its own color, with a white stripe for each. By passing through both of these buildings, it brings them together. Now a little about the management system. On this site we have two buildings, and the lighting on them should turn on simultaneously. To control, I will use Light Master Player, one for each building. I will set up an NTP server on it, and both devices will synchronize their time over the internet. The output of the player's Light Master is ArtNet, and then we will require a converter to convert the ArtNet signal to DMX or SPI. In my particular circumstance, it is DMX. Due to the small quantity of lighting fixtures, I will be in need of them. One device is assigned for every individual building in the vicinity. To connect the LightMaster player and converter to the network, you may need to change their IP addresses. This is done as follows. To change address of LightMaster, we need, first of all, you need the LightMaster player itself. We supply power to it and connect it to the computer by using an Ethernet cable. If needed, we make changes to the IP address of the network card in order to establish a connection. If needed, we alter the IP of the network card. It must be in the same subnet as LightMaster player. Enter the username, default is administrator, and the password is also administrator. Navigate to network settings and click on the pencil icon located next to the interface. Make the necessary changes to the IP address by entering the desired value, and then click on the Apply button to save the updated configuration settings. After that, the IP has been changed. If you accidentally entered the wrong address, made a mistake, then simply reset the power. At LMP, turn off Unplug from network to ensure safety. Then switch the power on again. The IP address will be restored. To confirm the updated IP address, you must modify the network card settings to place it in the new subnet again. To configure a new IP address, please enter the designated IP and then re-enter the username and password. Next, navigate to the Network Settings section and locate the Save button in the bottom right corner of the screen. Click on the Save button to apply the changes and save the new IP address configuration. If this is not done, the previous IP address will be restored after reboot. To modify the IP address of the LightMaster converter, we initially require the converter itself, and we provide power to it. And link it to the PC with an Ethernet cable. If needed, we alter the IP address of the computer's network card to be in the same subnet as the converter. The default IP address is shown on the rear side of the device. Proceed to LightMaster, choose the Search Controller option, select our network card from the list, and then click on the Search button to initiate the search process. The controller is found, select the Setting button, and change its IP address to the required one. Press the button to configure IP. There has been a modification in the IP address assigned. Returning to LightMaster Player, changing to the Fixtures tab in the interface. We already have one player here, and I will add an additional one for the second building. I will rename them immediately. And I will provide an indication of the IP addresses that belong to them, allowing for identification and tracking of their online activities. Now I'll add a converter. This can be done in two ways. The initial case is when the converter is in the same network as your computer. Click on the Search button, select the desired network, conduct another search, and add the necessary converter to the system as per the specified requirements. At the moment, there is an error when the controller is added with more ports than there actually are. In the upcoming updates, this will be fixed, but currently it is quite easy to fix the issue manually. Indicate the total count of ports. There is also another way to add a converter, which is manual addition. This method can be useful if you have converter not connected to network but located on object, or using converter not from LightMaster. Press +. We select the device we need, either just an ArtNet converter with the required number of ports or LightMaster. Converter employed to modify the number of ports as necessary. In this case we will use 1 universe per port, thus in settings. Make a modification to the parameter of the number of universes to port 2 by 1. Additionally, using this converter, we modify the IP address. Now I will put each created converter in my own building, in my LightMaster player. And I'll put the created devices into the corresponding ports of the converter. On each bulge we use 50. Devices, which implies a total of 150 addresses, that is the entirety of the situation at hand. A total of 50 lights can be accommodated on just one port. I make a selection of 50 lamps and proceed to relocate them to the first port of destination, ensuring their safe transportation. Addressing is carried out automatically, but if desired, we have the capability to allocate a device and assign it a manual address manually. I do the same with other devices. Now, before exporting animations, I'll make a camera that makes GIFs. Preview for Lightmaster Multimedia Player. I press the button to create a camera, then I switch to the camera that has been created by using the Create Camera button on the interface, setting up the perspective. And since GIF shows proportions, from square I'll tweak the size slightly. I use windows to visually perceive and gain an understanding of the elements present within the boundaries of my frame. I switch to the standard camera in order not to change the angle during navigation, and I switch to the Export tab. In the Export tab, I select the compositions that I will export. Second, third, fourth, and the rest. I make the selection of the pathway for exporting animations. I make the selection of a camera from which GIF previews will be generated, and then I press the Start button to begin. Anims were exported. Two separate directories are created along the specified path, everyone for its own Lightmaster Player device. Go to Lightmaster Player, enter the username. The default password is administrator, as it is set by default. We land on the main page. Next, we need to specify how the device is going to connect to the internet. Access network settings. Specify gateway address. Gateway address is router's address for computer internet access, through which computer accesses the internet. Click on the pencil, navigate to Network Connections, Control Panel, Internet Networks, Network Connections. On your network connection, choose the state in the default gateway line, and the router address will be shown. Enter it as 192.168.1.1, then select Apply and Save. After that, you must specify the route, so the player knows where its internal and external networks are. To edit the road table, click on the pencil icon. Then, add a new route by following the instructions provided in the section. Specify the gateway as 192.168.1. This is in my case. For your network, you'll have a different IP address in this case. In this particular place, we are indicating the numerical value of 400, which is a significant number in this context. Click on Save option to proceed. After that, there will be an additional button Save in the bottom right corner. Press it. After, if all done well, there is Internet on device. Access the Settings menu and locate the option for date and time settings. Click on the pencil. Here you can specify the time zone or time zone you are in, and below you need to enter the address of the server itself. The server address is easy to find on the internet. Enter the query NTP server. I will make use of the NTP server that is available on this website. I will utilize the pool of servers for synchronization. I am currently in the process of selecting the address of the initial server and identifying the address of the secondary server that will be utilized for the specific task at hand. Click Apply. Time corresponds to current one. String time is synchronized and appears yes. The player has the option to broadcast in broadcast mode, indicating that packets are sent to all devices on the network. It also has the capability to broadcast in unicast mode, which means that packets are exclusively sent to the devices they are intended for. The second mode is the preferred choice and is more cost-effective in terms of minimizing network load. I will use it exactly. To do this, you need to specify the devices and universes that we use here. We have the option to manually add a device by entering its name, specifying that broadcasting will be done via unicast, providing the IP address, port, and adding a description if needed. You will also need to include universes. I am importing these settings from Lightmaster. I change to Lightmaster, pick player, input name, enter the user and password, then press the send button. Send the message again. Devices sent. I switch to the player, I update. Re-enter username and password. I'm heading to the Devices section. Devices have been imported. Go to Queue section and upload our animations, specifically animations for Lightmaster Player. Upload. Animations have been loaded. Please navigate to the playlist and create a new one. Then add the animations to the newly created playlist. Animations in this playlist will be played in order. Under each animation, its duration is indicated, and the total duration of the playlist is indicated in the upper right corner. In the center of the animation, we specify how many repetitions we will have. The duration of both the animation and the playlist is automatically recalculated. At the start and at the end of each animation, we specify how the animation will begin and how it will conclude. Beneath us, there is a gradual transition from darkness to darkness, with the color shifting from black to black. Then specify the duration. Additionally, we have a transition via transparency from one animation to another. Also specify the duration of the animation. Therefore, the animation starts from black within a period of 5 seconds. Next comes 2 repetitions. Then within 5 seconds, it transitions from the first animation to the second, and the second animation repeats once, abruptly ends, and abruptly starts the third animation. She repeats one time, and that signifies the conclusion of the playlist. Currently, the duration of the animation is specified as 66 seconds, while in Lightmaster it is 1 minute. In order to ensure the duration matches, it is necessary to set the exact same frame rate in the settings as the one used in the Lightmaster. After that, the durations will be recalculated accordingly. By default, the player is in manual mode of operation for playback. This implies that on the Player tab, you have the ability to independently initiate any animation or any playlist that has been created. At the same time, his status will be displayed on the home screen immediately. To change the operating mode, you need to go to Main Setting and instead of Manual, specify Scheduler. At this location, you have the option to make alterations to the name of the object. After that, a calendar will become available in which we can create events that trigger a specific scenario, initiating and organizing a gathering or occasion for a specific purpose or celebration. Choosing a playlist. Following that, you will need to specify when this playlist will commence. The event can either be triggered once or it can occur on a recurring basis. Hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly. In general, I think I will make a separate video for this section to explain how all this works. If you're interested, kindly write in the comments section. At this moment, I will proceed to set up a one-time event, carefully selecting today's date and choosing the appropriate time for the occasion. Currently, I possess 1816 units. I intend to opt for 1900 units as my preferred choice. The script will commence at 7 p.m. and conclude at 7:05 p.m. The scheduled start time is 19:00 hours and the planned end time is 19:05 hours. The calendar has multiple views: month, week, day. The list of scenarios can also be displayed as a list. Now I have only one event in my calendar, but when you set up all the events for an object, you can have dozens of them. To save backup settings, you can utilize the backup function. This function transfers settings from one Lightmaster player to another. I'm going to the backup and restore section. Here are the settings that will be transferred. I also note that ArtNet devices and universes will be transferred as well. For second Lightmaster player, we need to specify our own ones. Press Create Backup. Backup successfully created. Go to the second Lightmaster player, go in, access the backup and restore section in the app, and follow the instructions to upload the backup file for data restoration purposes. Updating. After download, device restarts and you must kindly wait for a short while until the interface is fully loaded. Once it is ready, you can proceed by entering your username and password credentials. We go to the main page, go to the queue section, and see that the animations are highlighted differently. This means that Lightmaster Player does not have these animations, they are not transferred, and we will need to download them. Additionally, compositions in the playlist are indicated in red. Select to load queue. We upload compositions from the second folder. Comps loaded successfully. The playlist is being displayed correctly. An event has recently appeared on the calendar. The name of the building in the main settings has been successfully transferred to a new location. I will take care of fixing it right here in this location without any delay or hesitation. The universes of devices have also moved, but I need to replace them. I select Lightmaster Player, press Send, devices are sent. Access date and time settings. Click the pencil. Our time zone has been changed, but we will need to manually enter the NTP server. Go to Network Settings. Here we need to specify the gateway and the route as we did before. Settings not transferred, as each Lightmaster player is in its own building and network settings differ due to separate locations of the buildings. All my devices are right in front of me, connected to the same network, so my settings will be the same. Remember to click Save in the bottom right corner, and we ensure our synchronization is complete. Now, even if we have a temporary power or internet outage, the time on the controller will remain true because Lightmaster Player is equipped with a module. In real time, in such failures, time is saved, and it does not need to be set again. Just wait for specified in time. Take a look at the calendar of time and see how the scenario will work in action. Observe the unfolding events and analyze the process to gain a better understanding. Pay attention to the details and evaluate the outcomes to determine the effectiveness of the plan. Animation started. Here we have the upper luminaire corresponding to the angle, the building that is situated on the right side, and the luminaire that is positioned lower in the corner of the building that is situated on the left side. I'll accelerate the video in the middle parts. Animations, and we are going to observe how well the playlist functions and performs in order to assess its effectiveness and make any necessary improvements. Now the first animation has started for the second time. A smooth and seamless transition from the first animation to the second animation, ensuring a fluid and uninterrupted flow between the two, enhancing the overall visual experience. The second animation came to an abrupt halt, and the third one commenced. The transition between the two was sudden, with no pause or delay. The third animation began immediately after the second one ended, creating a seamless flow of visuals without any interruption or gap in between. The third animation finished playing, the playlist ended, and the cycle began all over again. The initial animation commences from a black screen and has a duration of 5 seconds, starting from the beginning and gradually fading in. She experiences a loss once, and when she initiates the second attempt, the runtime of the script reaches its conclusion and everything abruptly shuts down. If you liked this video, be sure to like it, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. If you have any more questions, welcome to the comments. Well, I'm saying goodbye to you, see you in the next videos.